All right, let's see what we got here, guys. All right, guys, we are officially at just about the end of day 2 of the CrossFit Games. So we had to they had to reschedule a few events, team events and individual event 2, 2A, 2B, 2 today. And you had the age groups, so you had the teens and the masters going as well today. So you saw we're now kind of officially at the end of day 1, the regular scheduled day 1 of the individuals, and day 1 of the teens. So I think they're still lifting. They still have some lifts to go. Pretty sure anyway. Let me check the leaderboards. So right now on the old leaderboard, the leaderboard's a little screwed up, so you might not really know who's who here. I can tell you this, the women's leaderboard is an absolute mess. This is not who's going to be wearing the white jersey. Well, I'm pretty sure she's not. My guess is Tia is now in first place because right now they have her in 19th on the run. There's no way she's in 19th. And I know this because Hayley Adams is here in 18th place. She is, I'm pretty sure, first place, unless somebody from the earlier, who was it? Gabby McGowa. They have Gabby McGowa in there. Yeah. And Gabby McGowa's time is completely wrong. There's no way she did anything, and that 3:24 is probably her the last run, the half mile. So this one's a complete mess. You've got some people in here 3:29. So it seems like the first heat they put in completely screwed up. Has nothing for Jacqueline Dahlstrom. So I'm pretty sure they're still sifting through film. It's been a few hours, so I don't know why it's taken them so long and why this is so screwed up, but there's no way Hayley Adams is in 18th. So her score, she's going to get probably about 50 extra points. The difference between 18th place is 49 points, and as we know, 100 points for first place. So she's going to get 51 points added onto hers if she is in fact in first. I'm not sure what. She might be in second behind, I think it's Gabby McGowan in the first heat. But my guess is Hayley is in first on that. So she's getting 51 points. That puts her at 377. Doesn't put her into first place. While I don't think Mal is in 25th place, she's probably somewhere around there because it looks like her score is probably correct, her time. And that's not a very good time considering that Hayley did it in sub 7. So she might be actually down by that 25th. So she could be getting a few more points, maybe push her up over that 400 mark. The other person that we know is not correct is Tia, and that's significant because she has a 708, so she is in the top 5, I'm guessing, on this event. Let's see if anybody else is on there besides Hayley. Yeah, I'd say she's in the probably top 5, if not the top 3. So she's going to gain a whole bunch of points, like 30 plus points. She'll probably be in first or second. Well, Mal might still be in first place, actually. And then Tia and Hayley are going to move up. Emma is probably moving down, especially that time she's going to gain a few more points, but I'm guessing her place is going to drop. Tia is going to take second. Lowen's score, she's right up there. She's actually one worse than O'Brien, so whatever happens to O'Brien's going to happen to Lowen too. So Hayley is going to probably surpass, well, definitely going to surpass Lowen, and probably, let's see, going to be close with Lawson. She might pass Lawson. So it might go O'Brien, Toomey, Lawson, Adams. So that's what's happening on the ladies. So awesome event though. Double event or double score where the run was 1 score, the jerk was another. Really cool event because people that aren't very good at the jerks, very good in the strength, such as Hayley Adams, who ended up with 9 reps, was 17th, so right in the middle of a pack. So she didn't get totally blown out of the water on that. She's able to she would have more time on the bar to maybe get the extra rest that she needs to hit another jerk or two. So that worked out really well for her, but not so well for people that are stronger, that can't run, because then they just don't have much time on that bar. On the guy side's a little screwed up, but I don't think it's very much screwed up. You just have Dallin Pepper here in first place with 1 minute 32 seconds. That's not a thing. And that's probably his 600-meter time, I'm guessing. And then, or no, not 600. What was it, 400? Was it 600? Yeah, I guess maybe 600. And then you've got Callan Henry at 3 minutes. That's wrong. That's definitely wrong. So that's 2. So you got 2 people that are definitely not in the places that they have them. So, but what we do know is this guy is for real, Ricky Gerard. So he is in the top, I think 3, if not first place in the run. And then third place in the overhead, something that he kind of saw as a damage control, the shoulder to overhead portion of this. He ended up crushing it. So that's huge. He's going to gain. He's pushing. Let's see, Medeiros 22nd. So Medeiros didn't do so well on the run, but doesn't lose anything on the shoulder to overhead. So Ricky's going to widen that gap, and Krennichoff is probably, he's going to gain possibly a couple points. Depends where those couple guys that are wrong, if they fall between Krennichoff and Medeiros, or if they actually are ahead, then ahead of both of them, it won't change their placings at all. But you could see Krennichoff move up, Medeiros move down, which would be pretty interesting because I picked Ricky, Roman, and Pat on the podium. So that's what I'm rooting for anyway. So what do we learn after day 1? Ricky Gerard is for real. So this guy banned a few years ago. In an interview, he said that he only did it for like a couple weeks before regionals, and then a couple weeks or through that to the games. And he also, the amount he said that he used, all this stuff, if he was honest about all that, my feeling was that these guys are in trouble if that's all he did. If you listen to more plates, more dates rather on YouTube about Ricky, he even says that the stuff that Ricky was using doesn't actually really work very well. So my feeling was, if this guy came back after a 3-4 year ban, these guys are gonna have a real problem keeping him off the podium, and it looks like that is the case. Now he's probably one of the most tested guys on there now, so you got to figure he's clean. They even tested him during the ban. I remember right when Matt Frazier retired, they released a list of people that they tested that week, and that had passed, not people they tested that didn't pass. Ricky was on the list of people that passed. So I do know Frazier also was tested that week, but we don't know what the results were because they didn't put him on a list. So, but just saying, he retired the next week. Weird. So Ricky's looking really sharp after day 1, but a lot of people look pretty good after day 1. Usually you got Yanni Koski, he usually does good in the endurance stuff, the swimming, the biking, all that stuff, but kind of falls off towards the later days. Same thing with like a Brent Fikowski, just the opposite. He's usually kind of a comeback guy, even in Velner as well. These guys, which good thing for Velner that he's a comeback guy, because right now he is in 5th place, and he's probably going to be about 150 points out. Nothing impossible to make up. They've got another, where are we at here? 5 events, 5 scores, 4 events. There's another 8 events, so lots of room to make up. Here's an interesting one from yesterday, the screw up on the bike where Lazar and Panchik went the wrong way, or not went the wrong way, skipped a lap. He got 10th place on that because they gave him a pretty hefty 3.5 minute or so penalty, or add in. It was his slowest lap added into his time to kind of guess where he would be. If Lazar kept going on that next lap and actually got the time that he would have got on that lap, he's gonna fall somewhere not 10th place. He's going to fall in the top 5. That would have given him roughly 20 more points, moving him up to 361. While that doesn't change his place right now, it also would have probably knocked Roman and Medeiros down a few points, and possibly he would have even knocked Gerard down a few points. So he could have been in at least one better place there. He was the only one that was significant. I know Danielle Brandon, she was penalized, but that was worth about probably 6 points in the grand scheme of things. And Panchik probably would have also gained roughly 20 points. So a little bit there. That'll be interesting how that turns out. So other things in day 1, Emily Rolfe brought to the hospital. We reported on that yesterday. So she is out of surgery. They removed the blood clot from her left arm. No idea why that happened. Very rare case. That doesn't happen typically. I'm going to guess vaccine, just saying, Canadian. We know she has probably had the vaccine, so that's going around. What else do we got this week, or after day 1? End of day 1. So my thoughts on the events, what is it? What are these events actually called? Let me pull the names up here. So bike to work, very cool. We talked about that already. Shuttle to overhead A and B. So we saw that one today. That was event 2, 2A, 2B. Great event. I love the way it was separated like that with 2 scores. That way you could kind of go hard on the run if you're not very strong. And if you are strong, you still got to go hard on the run. You can't just sandbag the run. Run, very important. We're definitely seeing a thing of monostructural movements, the running, bike, probably we're going to see swimming tomorrow morning, then lifting, doing stuff heavy. That's kind of, lifting while tired. That's kind of a theme we're seeing. Very functional, and I think that's kind of where we're going. I hope we're going with the sport, instead of separating these things into their own little events, and sometimes focusing too much on weightlifting or strength events. Right now, you're kind of mixing them up a little bit more. The other ones, last night you had the skill speed medley, event number 3. That I actually will save that. Elizabeth elevated. That was the cleans, squat cleans, 135.95, and the dips, but you had the parallel bars going on the dips. I love that event. That's one of my favorite events so far. And why? Because I love that parallel bar, adding something to a dip to make it a little more interesting, penalizing people for breaking if they break. And you saw a lot of that. People, the moving down the bar, if you watch the teams, Lauren Fisher really fell apart on that and actually probably took Reykjavik, is more than likely just completely out of the picture for a podium. Even though they did really well today, I don't think that you're going to see them anywhere near the podium. And that's what you bring into light with a movement such as the parallel bars. And that's not a new movement in CrossFit. It's just new to the games. And check out my other video. I have a link in there for me doing that 10 years ago. So pretty cool. So I really like that one. The skill speed medley. This is probably my favorite event, at least this year. One of my favorites of all time. This was, if you haven't seen this, go back, at least watch the skill speed medley, event number 3 on their, if you look at the chapters on their video. This is probably one of the most exciting events. They finally made gymnastics super exciting when, what's her name? I can't remember her name. She fell flat on her face. It was awesome. And then got up and still finished in 2nd place. Yeah, Emma Lawson. That was super exciting. And then they brought in also different movements, single unders, tripping up Tia Toomey. It's like, how are you bad at single unders? 75 singles in a row. Also, seeing everybody jumping off of 2 feet was crazy. Instead of doing, the best way to do single unders is do the running man, right? I always make our athletes do these, or when I had a gym last month, I make our athletes do this in warm up. We do single unders, 2-footed, single unders, alternating feet, 1 foot, and then double unders, right? And then I make them do it moving back and forth. Why? Because about 10 years ago, one of my athletes was in a competition, and he was a master's athlete, and he was in 1st place in the competition. And he was beating a guy that just came from the games the previous year, was like 4th place. So he's feeling pretty good about himself. Final event, he's got to do like 200 single unders. He had never done a single under. The only time he ever learned how to jump rope was in CrossFit and doing doubles. So instead, he did 200 double unders. So he's took him so long, he's cramping up all this stuff. So I was like, man, never am I going to have that happen to one of my athletes again. And it was just an unforeseen thing. I never would have thought that, like, oh yeah, single unders are super hard if you're used to doubles. Um, but they're a great warm up for doubles. So that's what I make all our athletes do now. So definitely got to have those singles. Then the other thing they brought in there was the unbroken pistols on one side. This really made the judge be able to judge the lockout. So I know like Andrew Hiller's got to be happy about that. When they do the leg switching thing and the judge is on this side, they're always screwing up the other side. And they know that. The athletes game this. You could even see this last night. I think it was Cara Saunders on the parallel bar. Her one hand is on the tape. I don't know if they had to be off the tape. I'm assuming it had to be past the tape. One hand is on the tape on one side, but the side the judge is on, because the judge can only be on one side on the dips, is past the tape. And whether she did that on purpose or not, but that's the kind of stuff that the athletes do. Like, oh, the judge is on my right side. You can't see how deep I am on my pistols on the left. So I like it was 10 and you saw the judge actually go to the other side. So I thought that was a really good change up to the pistol. Also the unbroken thing where they couldn't put their foot down. I think a lot of these things need to be unbroken. It's been way too long that like they didn't make athletes do unbroken double unders at the games. Like hundreds of them unbroken would be good. I think 50 was a little too small in this event. Probably the only thing I didn't like about the skill speed medley, not enough double unders. I like the pirouette, the circle on the handstand walk, and then do that. That was pretty cool. Those girls in the first heat, Fusilier and shoot, I don't remember her name. Starts with an F as well. A little Italian girl. What was her name? Shit, somebody's yelling at me right now. Fuliano, yeah. It was great to see them crush that one. And Fusilier is a gymnast, so she absolutely destroyed that. And as usual, Danielle Brandon crushed that. They did really well until the last round where the next implement was added in, which was a crossover jump rope. Now, when I originally read it, I thought they had to do a double under, like go one while in the air, crossover, and that wasn't actually the case. It was just do a crossover jump rope, right? And so I practiced these for about 20 minutes, and I was able to do 4 or 5 in a row. If you watch Brent Fikowski's video on his Instagram, he can do a whole bunch in a row. It's just he never made it to that point. Let's see, what was one of the girls that came that I believe it was Fuliano, right? Fifth place. Oh, maybe not. One of the girls was actually doing double unders with her arms crossed. She was going 1-2 while in the air, and it was kind of cool because she was doing that rope was going around twice with it crossed, and the judge was giving her 2 each time instead of just 1, which I thought was awesome. And she hung with Danielle Brandon doing that. So none of the ladies passed that point though, or they didn't get to the seated parallel bar handstand walk. So we didn't get to see if any of them could do that. And I'm sure that was a lot easier for the ladies if they got to it than the crossover jump rope. So that was pretty interesting. Guys, on the other hand, that crossover jump rope, short work for what's his name? Nick Matthew. So Nick Matthew absolutely has got some sort of jump rope background. In the beginning, he was doing one of the guys at our gym, Paulie, he would do this, and we'd always be like, what the hell? He'd have 1 foot forward and do a double on one, do 2 jumps on 1 foot, switch feet, 2 jumps, 2 jumps, 2 jumps, 2 jumps. That's somebody that jumps rope a lot, or does like boxing background. Those guys usually do all the single under stuff, the crossover, the spin to the side. They're usually really good at that stuff. So I wonder if Nick Matthew had some background in that. Pretty cool to see him absolutely smash that one though. And then he went right to that parallel bar. went to the L-sit, kicked right up, walked, and absolutely crushed everyone in that event. Guy had a little bit of trouble getting up on that, but once he did, gone. So Guy, awesome job on that. And it was interesting to see Medeiros. He was the second one to get to that parallel bar kick up, and he just couldn't kick up and get it. And I found that really interesting. Back in the day, 10 years ago, when I had parallel bars, I used to try that, and it's scary as hell to be in a handstand at the top of the parallel bars. Granted, they had those lower ones for that part, but it's still a little bit scary because you're adding that extra distance to the floor, which makes it a little crazy. So really like that event, if you can't tell, and it was super exciting. And like I said, they brought excitement to gymnastics. That the same kind of excitement that you generally only see in CrossFit in the lifting events, like the speed ladders and stuff like that. It was awesome. So yeah, that's all the events we've been through so far. Bosman absolutely killing it with the programming. Got to give it to him there. The judges have been out of the way. I did see some questionable things like, and I'm not sure if it was supposed to be, I'm not sure why it was a no rep. I didn't really go back and check. Noah was on the parallel bars walking on Elizabeth, and the judge goes no rep, and Noah just keeps going and goes to the dips and just keeps going, and the judge was like, oh, okay, we'll keep going. And I'm not sure if maybe he kicked the uprights. I'm assuming they weren't allowed to kick the uprights when they were walking, and he probably did that and just didn't know what could possibly be no rep because the guy, he didn't fall. So, but yeah, some stuff there. But all in all, the judging, awesome. The judges are out of the way. They're not getting in the way of the cameraman, although I'm not real sure the cameramen are doing enough of anything to get in the way of. So we'll talk about that. I know I talked about that yesterday. It's a never-ending theme of CrossFit Games. It's the biggest pain, disappointment every single year. Just got some lists here. I want to make sure. Okay. Teens and math. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that with the camera. Yeah, I guess let's say that. Camera work is horrendous. And it's not the camera work well, some of the camera work is horrendous. They're way too zoomed in, like today on the overhead. They literally got an angle, like if I was lifting, they would have just me, nobody next to me. It's like you could zoom out a little bit or do an angle where you actually can get some of the other people. They did a lot better on the teams, mostly because they don't know who anybody is on the team, so they don't focus in on somebody. It's like, oh, so-and-so's Medeiros is lifting. Oh, we're going to be on him, right? It was just always on the same damn people. And it's an event where somebody's literally 6 feet to each side. Why not? And behind. So it's like you could get a triangle of people with a couple cameras and make sure it's the whoever's picking which cameras and directing them is just awful at this. So the teens, horrible event this morning. The run, rope climb, and double dumbbell jerks. There's apparently only 2 teens or 3 teens working out, and there's only a couple masters working out because that's all we saw. They figured out a way to have no one else for 30 minutes. And that's my other thing. The future of CrossFit is what they call them, and they gave them 30 minutes, and only about 2 people were shown in each. All the teens went together, and then the masters, they had 2 heats of masters. The 35-year-old group went by themselves, and then all the other groups went together. Or actually, I think that also the 60 plus went 55 to 60 plus, 65 plus. So 3 groups of masters, but they don't show anybody except for the person in the lead. And having the guys paired up with the women, the 35-year-old group, we never saw any woman except China Cho, and we only saw her here and there. It was the first run was just the guys because they just focused on the front group. Well, all the guys ran in a group, all the women ran in a group. So we didn't see the women for the whole beginning of that workout until everything separated. And then they just showed the leader male and China Cho. That's it. And they were far enough ahead at different parts that you never saw anyone else. It was just awful. Like they really need to fix this coverage, especially you're calling the teens the future of CrossFit. Like the Subiono boys, there were two of them. They were in the same heat, and I saw one of them laying on the floor, right, for a minute, and because he happened to be laying next to somebody they were talking about, and they're like, oh no, actually they were talking about somebody else. He comes in, lays on the floor. The cameraman's, oh, good shot. Somebody gasping for air, and Elijah's there on the ground breathing for air, and they just kept talking about whoever the hell they were talking about, not even mention anything like, oh yeah, you really put out blah blah blah, nothing. So super annoying on that aspect. I just want to see more people in this thing. I want people to get coverage, especially the teens. Like, they are the future. It's bad enough we've already cut them down to 10 people. So anyway, that's all I'm going to bitch about on that. So let's talk about people that are doing better than we thought. People are doing worse than we thought. Bring that scoreboard back up here real quick. So on the let's see, on the guys' side, make that a little bigger for you. On the guy's side, Ricky Gerard, for real, he is doing awesome. Not that I thought he was going to do well, but I know a lot of other people had him in the 5 through 10 area, and that may be where he ends up. But I don't think anybody had him going into day 2, which now day 3, with the leader jersey and having the leader jersey on the entire time. Just awesome. And at this point, he has a pretty sizable lead that it's going to be tough. He's going to be wearing it probably, I would assume he's going to be wearing it even if he doesn't do well tomorrow throughout most of the day. And Medeiros, he's doing about as well as we thought. Roman Krennichoff, another one that I knew was going to crush it. Hoping he keeps going up. I would love to see Roman get on that podium, or stay on that podium, I guess now. And another guy that most people had in that top 10, but maybe not, just because he's an unknown. He's never been to the CrossFit Games, but Lazar Jukic, another one that probably people had in the maybe cracking the top 10. Pat Velner was doing really good till today. Just had a horrendous jerk. He just couldn't. He hit 5 reps. He missed at least 10 of them. So if he made those 10 or his 15th, he'd be in 6th place. There you go. So that would have changed his score. He was on the climb up. Now he just climbed down today. Jeff Adler, guaranteed to be strong, first place in today's event. He's another guy that could be in that top 5. Let's see, guys that are not doing so well. Noah's about where Noah should be right now. Let's see, Saxon Panchik. I kind of felt like a lot of hype around Saxon going to Tia's to Proven and doing really well at the semifinal, not really showing up that much today. And he did really well last year at the games, obviously, but not quite showing up yet. And these are some things that really expected him to be a little better on. Although his 7th place here on the run, that's wrong. He is in is he in 1st place? No, he's in 2nd place. He's in 2nd place on the run. So that's going to bump him up quite a bit. But still, I thought Saxon would be doing a little bit better. And I figured Spencer would be in 12th place. And Spencer's in 15th, so not too much of a difference there. Now, mind you, give him another 20 points. He moves up a slot or two, but kind of underperforming Saxon. BKG underperforming. But we all know BKG will end up in the top 5 because BKG always ends up in the top 5. And if you don't know that, you're not paying attention. Yanni Koski actually should be doing a little better. So he is not putting out the way he should have been, and the way he started in 2nd. What was he, 7th place last year, 6th place last year? I don't know. He's been moving up. So every time he shows up to the games, he moves up. So I feel like he should be in if things go well, if he's made the same improvements he always makes, he should be in the top 5 at the end of the week. And right now, not doing so well with some events that he maybe should have did a little better at. But the swim event coming up, he's going to bump up there. Hopper to Flopper. So much hype around this guy going to, hard work pays off. I'd love to see Hopper flop just because of that. I'm not a huge Matt Frazier fan. And right now he's in 17th place. I think last night he was being beat by Colton Mertens, who I just love to see beat Hopper in the games. Where's Mertens now? Mertens fell off the face of the earth today, though. 39th in the run, even though that's not quite right, but he's going to be way down at the bottom in the run. He might even be 40th in the run. Who knows? Horrible time there. And so here's the problem that we said the other day. If you can't run, you don't have time to get enough jerks in there to make up for it. And that's why he's in 29th there. He just didn't have time to crank out those jerks. And we know that kid can easily jerk 300. He should have been in that 15 plus rep range. Instead, 8 reps. Not good. Not good. So Merton's underperforming. A lot of people would say, no, that's where we figured he'd be. But after yesterday, he dropped a lot today. So that's unfortunate. I'd like to see Mertens move up. Fikowski, number one underperformer out there. Okay. Can he pull out of this? I don't know. I don't think so. I think, I think I mentioned this a month ago or so. I feel like Brent is going to retire at the end of the season if he doesn't do really well. I just feel his, something about him. He just kind of seems a little bit miffed by his performances in CrossFit and not winning. Let's say. Let's see who else we got on here. These guys. Yeah, the bottom, not necessarily Semenoff, but like a couple of these names I figure would be quite a bit higher. Vigneault, Caravis, Brown, but who knows? We'll see once they get into the. We don't know. Normally we say, oh well, they start doing CrossFit-y stuff. More CrossFit-y stuff, less endurance stuff, and blah, blah, blah. But we have no idea what they're going to do this year. So it'll be very interesting. Oldest Upanitis, Upanikis, I don't know how to say his name, but he's crushing it. He's doing better than I thought. All right, let's go on to the women's side, and then we'll talk quick about the teams and what's happening in that shit show. Let's see. So we really don't know where these ladies are, but performing as good as we figured they would. Tia O'Brien's been a favorite going into this year because, again, hard work pays off. I'd like to see her get knocked off the podium, definitely. Tia moving up, probably in second place. Ariel Lowen, definitely figured she'd be in that top 5. Danielle Brandon actually showing up. A lot of hype around her this year, especially if you're into the Savon podcast. She's on there all the time. And just media-wise, a lot of hype. She's doing better than I thought, but she's been hyped up a little bit. So Hayley Adams crushing it this 18th. She's gonna pop up a few. She's in good position to possibly get on the podium for the first time, and would love to see her win. And I think she looks really good this year. Let's see, Magawa, kind of underperforming. So hopefully she pulls out of that. Brooke Wells. A lot of people felt Wells was going to come back pretty hard. 14th. We'll see if her and Kara Saunders maybe underperforming a little bit there, but also both of them really bad year last year with COVID for Kara and the dislocated elbow and surgery for Brooke. I think Brooke is doing pretty well. She got 6th place in that jerk, so elbow's looking good. She's through the jerk and she's through the what do you call it? The handstand walks, so those are pretty rough on the elbow. So she might be in good shape for the rest of this event. And I think we're going to see her move up the board. I also definitely think we're going to see Kara move up the board. Once we put some weights in her hands, she's going to move up that board. Laura Horvath underperforming quite a bit here. And 32nd place on the run, even though we know that place is wrong. Almost 8 minutes on the run. That's not going to move you up too well. So Laura needs to do something to get back on that podium. Definitely an underperformer. Let's see. And I really felt like she was going to come in and crush things this year. All right, let's see what else we got here. Sungyoung Choi is actually overperforming. So last year, you remember, like she had the spotlight all to herself, being in last place in a few events. So 31st place, so second time here. Just getting to the CrossFit Games makes you better, right? Let's see, anybody else? That's about it. Ladies, Emily Rolfe, unfortunately, definitely thought she wasn't going to pull out, so unfortunate there. So last one is the old teams. The big underperformer of the year, CrossFit Mayhem. They are in 3rd place. So obviously we have some people that are doing a little bit better than we thought. Invictus being the main one. crushing the lifts today. I think somebody on there did like a, what was his name? Jorge Fernandez did like a 435 or 430 front squat. That was pretty impressive because he is not a big dude. Oslo, they're the second place team. They're there to beat Mayhem. They're tired of getting beat by Mayhem. Not surprising that right now they're beating Mayhem. I mean, I'll be surprised if they beat them, but definitely not that they're doing pretty well right now. Mayhem had kind of underperforming on the lifts to me, but I guess the two lift format, you only can lift twice, 30 seconds each. Rich hit a 380 front squat. I expected maybe 400, a try at 400 anyway, but opening with 370, it probably just didn't feel well enough to go push towards that 400, but still third place, not too bad. Their run though, 13th place on the run. Definitely got to get that team run down, guys. Independence, Mayhem Independence, not necessarily overperforming, that we figured they'd be right behind Freedom, and they are. Just figured they'd be a little bit higher up on that. CrossFit Reykjavik, definitely underperforming, 30th place on the dip, the Elizabeth workout. If they change that up, they would probably they'd punch up there pretty good, close, at least one place. But underperforming, I think you're going to see them move down the charts a little bit. 8th Day CrossFit Black, overperforming. They have now beaten Mayhem. They got first place. They're one of the teams that beat Mayhem. And you've got the other teams we have 3 teams beat Mayhem so far. I know Oslo Blue beat them twice. 8th Day got them once. Where's the other first place? There it is. And then CrossFit Milford, crushing. So from Connecticut, right? I'm a Connecticut boy. CrossFit Milford, who in 2015, they lost to Mayhem, and they were in the lead in the last day. At some point in the last day, they lost to Mayhem, I think, by 5 points in 2015. My buddy, what's his name? Brendan Marolda. What's up, Brendan? He was on that team. But today, these guys crushed the lifts. One of the guys, 390, 385 jerk. Okay. Pretty impressive. 385 jerk. However, the most impressive I saw was on the lifts was CrossFit Reykjavik. If you kind of look at this number, 1,295 pounds for 4th place. The thing it doesn't tell you is that Annie, what did she jerk? She jerked 200, so that's pretty damn good. Or 260, I'm sorry. I can't read my own writing. She jerked 260. That's pretty impressive for her. And Tola jerked 405. So that's insane. So that's a 665 of their points comes from the jerk, which means they overperformed the squat. I know, what's his name? Porter, he missed his first front squat, so he ended up not, I think he ended up with like a 370 front squat. I didn't write it down, but not a very good front squat, so he underperformed there. I didn't see what Fisher did, and they didn't talk about her, so no idea what she hit, but I'm sure she's kind of turning out to be the weak link of this group. But man, 405 jerk, awesome. Nice job to Reykjavik on those jerks. And if we see a clean, I still feel like we're going to see a clean and jerk on Saturday when they do the lifting. I think that's what we're set up for. And I really want to see somebody hit a 405 clean and jerk in the individuals. That would be epic. So right now, I think the teens, let's see, I want to go to the teens real quick. We'll give the teens a little love because nobody else does. The broadcasters definitely don't. We'll go to the boys, 14-15. And there's a little upset going on there. Oh, they did the skills chipper, okay, and the max trio. So teen boys, so they've done 3. I got to go back and watch those other 2. I think they just happened. So let's see where our man Kaeo Subiono, he is in 7th place. So that's awesome. 455 points. I believe that is the trio is the lifts. So we got to find out what these guys were lifting. And let's go to 16, 17-year-old boys. Now, Elijah Subiono, Kaeo's brother, he was in 8th place on the run and actually got beat by his little brother on the run. And however, pulled out 1st place on the skills tripper. That is freaking awesome. Good job. He is in 4th place, so striking distance to the podium. So would love to see him, either the Subiono boys move up to that podium. If you don't know who the Subiono boys are, you better check. Subionos are the family that I bought my gym from. So Keone's out there. Keone, if you see this, you should be the media team. You should be in charge of the media cameramen for the games because you do a better job than they do. Here's the thing I was alluding to, a little shakeup. Olivia Kerstetter, who could have went individual to at least the semifinals and possibly make the games as an individual as a, what is she, 15 years old? Is that what I just put us in? Yeah, 16 years. She just turned 16 in December, I believe. She got 2nd place in the run to Trista Smith, and then she got 2nd and 3rd. So we all assumed Olivia was just going to sweep every event at this thing, and she's actually, the Sophia Shaft has 2 firsts on her. So we could, she has a 50-point lead, but we could see an upset in the 16, 17-year-old girls, which would be actually probably one of the biggest upsets in the games this year if that does happen. So that's going to be interesting to see. The girls behind her are both 2nd and 3rd place is tied for 2nd. So on the boys, I'm sorry, 14, 15-year-old girls. I don't know much about the 14, 15-year-old girls, but it's mixed up. We got 3 girls with 1st places, so tight race there, 30 points difference. All right, then the other big news coming out of the age groups, and one is that 45 to 50-year-old age group, I would have beat all these guys and everything. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have. I feel like I would have did the run, rope climb, jerk, dumbbell jerk. I feel like I could have been competitive in this one, but it's not about me. But I like to bitch about it anyway because I'm not there. Bring back 20 people to the age groups, guys. Next up, so yeah, the big thing in the age groups though is this: 35 to 39-year-olds. China Cho crushing the women. Roy Gamboa, nobody's surprised to see Roy Gamboa in 1st place, as he is, I believe he's the last on this list. He is the last one to make the games as an individual, so he should be winning. And Sam Dancer, though, withdrew. He did the run, walked over, touched the rope because it was the minimum work requirement to get a score for that workout, and he pulled out. And this is the guy who said he was gonna. He was training to win this, and everything he did this year was to win the Masters. And so he is definitely underperforming. Heard a lot of hype, but I guess he injured himself doing pull-ups or something. Pulled or tore a bicep, something go with his bicep, and then the first workout is a rope climb. Not good for him. So he is out, and something you got to think about. I know he was on Sevon the other day mentioning that he went and trained with Medeiros and was like trying to push Medeiros and trying to win the workouts. Maybe pushed himself a little bit too hard there to come to the games a week later and push yourself. Maybe not the awesomest idea. You're an old man now, bro. You can't be doing that stuff. China Cho actually in 2nd place to Anita Tucker. So that's interesting. So we'll see. She got capped on this event, the skills chipper. So see what happens there. I still think Cho will probably pull it out. So that's it, guys. That's what we got. We are now done with, you could call it day 1, you could call it day 2, whatever you want to call it, but it should be just about over. So let's see where those people move to. And so far, awesome event. It's just that camera work needs to improve. But what do I know? I never done this shit, so whatever. My camera work's improving, hopefully. Later, guys. Stay tuned tomorrow.